Boom! What's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larsen. Welcome back to Sales Funnel Radio in the evening time again here in this Staples parking lot on a bike ride. Hey, today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the second millionaire in America.
I've spent the last 4 years learning from the most brilliant marketers today. And now I've left my 9-to-5 to take the plunge and build my $1 million business. The real question is, how will I do it without VC funding or debt, completely from scratch? This podcast is here to give you the answer. Join me and follow along as I learn, apply, and share marketing strategies to grow my online business, using only today's best internet sales funnels. My name is Steve Larsen, and welcome to Sales Funnel Radio.
What's up, my friends? Hey, I'm excited for today's episode, and tonight's again. I just filmed one here in the parking lot. I just finished a 20-mile bike ride. I'm still several miles from home, but a lot of things in my mind. My mind's kind of spinning right now, and I just thought I'd stop and drop another episode here and tell kind of a cool story. Now, I have been walking through yesteryear's gurus. Okay, I've been walking. I mean, like centuries gurus, the 1700s and 1800s. I've been kind of obsessed lately of going in and studying the lives of these old, rich, dead marketers, okay, and how they got their messages around, because we live in a very different world. And while the internet is beautiful, it is largely a crutch, and it is a distraction if you don't understand what marketing truly is. Okay, and so what I've been doing is going around and finding it. And one of the stories I want to tell you guys real quick here is the story of a guy named P.T. Barnum. And you all probably have likely heard of P.T. Barnum from the movie The Greatest Showman, which is largely made up in the Hollywood movie, which is a great movie. Most of that is not true about P.T. Barnum. Okay, he did have a circus, he did have a museum, but his circus, it wasn't until that was his retirement project, man. He was getting older in his life when he started that circus. The movie makes it seem like he had this young, struggling family, and it was the circus that made him. That's not at all true. That's not true at all. Okay, it was later on in his life. Anyway, so P.T. Barnum, brilliant guy. And as far as I found, I believe he's the second millionaire in America. Right now, P.T. Barnum was born, I believe, in 1810. He died in 1891, something like that. He's about 81 years old. And so $1 million back then is way more than it is now, right? I mean, that's pretty impressive to be able to have $1 million back then. So I believe he's the second. He definitely was the first millionaire from show business in America. And anyway, brilliant guy. And bit of a hoax, right? He loved doing hoaxes, as he called them, or humbugs to the public. And there's a lot of famous quotes with him about that. One of the famous hoaxes that he's well known for, and you can go read about this on Wikipedia if you want, there's YouTube videos about it. This is a very famous hoax, and that's why this is widely known around the 1800s for being one of the greatest hoaxes that has ever been pulled off ever. P.T. Barnum was famous for saying something to the effect of, "The world wants to be fooled, so let it be fooled." And what he would do is he would do these little tricks on the public. His sales would increase, and so long as he over-delivered on value, he found that nobody really cared. Now, I'm not here to combat with you or say whether or not that's right or wrong. I personally don't think that that's right. Don't lie, okay? But there's a lot you can learn from the brilliance of what this guy did. And what I want to share with you guys right now is a really famous, fascinating story on what I believe true marketing is. Now, if you remove the internet right now in today's time, it's kind of a funny episode. It's called Dark right here. I'm staying in a Staples parking lot. Check it out. Yeah, right. You can't even see that anyway. And I'm at, look at that, 20 miles. Yeah, what's up? And I thought I might as well stop here. So a little context on why it's all dark. Anyway, so P.T. Barnum, though, what happened was, so he had this museum in New York. Most of his income, his entire life, came from this museum of crazy stuff. Not a circus. That, again, later, like I was saying, that's later on in his life. So P.T. Barnum, though, I think it was in the mid 1850s. I think it was around that time period. mid-18... I love studying marketing history. Mid-1850s, this mermaid caught off of the coast of Fiji, right, quote unquote, gets brought to P.T. Barnum to show to him to see if he wants to put it in his museum. So apparently there was this merchant ship that caught this Fiji mermaid, quote unquote, and they brought it to New York to show P.T. Barnum and see if he'd like to use it. Well, P.T. Barnum looked at it, and it was a hoax. It was literally a monkey's body that they had sewn to a fish. It was literally the first half of a monkey. It's kind of morbid, okay? But you can see pictures of it. If you go on Wikipedia, look up Fiji mermaid, you'll see pictures, okay? It's literally a monkey's body that they sewed to a fish. And P.T. Barnum looks at this and goes, oh my gosh, I bet this would create some cool buzz. So what he did is he went and he grabbed all of these naturalists, right, to come in and declare, this is a true mermaid from Fiji. Now, anyone could tell, looking at it, that it was fake. So what P.T. Barnum did, first of all, is he started getting less and less experienced naturalists to come in. Because the first one would go, no, that's not real. And then he'd be like, all right, we'll see you later. And he'd go hire the next guy. And he'd be like, come on over here. Less experienced naturalist. And he'd get the next less experienced and the next less experienced, until finally he had a naturalist declare, this is a real mermaid. He took that story and ran with it. What he did is he and his associate started posing by sending letters to the newspaper from various locations. Okay, so this is what they did. His associate, his buddy, acted like he was a doctor, and they started leaking, quote unquote, interactions that they were having together about this Fiji mermaid and how spectacular it is. They started leaking those stories between him and this fake doctor to the press. And they would send him from these anonymous locations throughout the city and the nation. So the press is like, oh my gosh, we're getting all these letters all over the place, all these letters, right? All these people saying that there's this incredible Fiji mermaid. And look at this correspondence between this doctor and P.T. Barnum, the incredible person, the incredible museum owner. Holy crap. It's really, really fascinating, right? It was fake. It was completely fake. They were sending, anyway, so they start getting some buzz and they start seeding some buzz to the press. Well, what happened is when they start getting enough of this buzz, the doctor, quote unquote, decided that he would travel from New York down to Philadelphia and go and check into this hotel to do some business there and bring the Fiji mermaid with him. They strategically chose the hotel. They chose a hotel where they knew the owner was friends with a bunch of editors. Talk about the Dream 100 homework, okay? This doctor, quote unquote, I can't remember what his name was. It was Dr. I'm seeing two G's in my head. Higgins, Driggs, something like that. Anyway, I can't remember what the doctor's name was. Anyway, it was just fake again, right? It's a fake doctor, fake name. But anyways, what they did is this doctor goes and he checks into this hotel in Philadelphia, and as a thank you for letting him stay in the hotel, he's like, you know what, I will show you the Fiji mermaid. And he shows them the Fiji mermaid, which again is literally a monkey's body sewed to a fish. And he goes, oh my gosh, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Do you mind if I bring some of my friends over to see it? Guess who all of his friends were? All these editors. Okay, so he stays in the hotel, does some quote unquote business and leaves. Now, and they've seeded it in Philadelphia now with all of these editors. Okay, this keeps going. This gets even better. Okay, this is a true story. Go read up on about it. This is like one of the craziest. Okay, and when people are like, I sent a Facebook campaign, I'm like, that's not a campaign. That's just a Facebook ad. That's not a campaign. That this is a campaign. Study what this guy was doing. Okay, this guy was brilliant at campaigns. Okay, anyway, okay, so while this doctor is in Philadelphia and he's swooning all of these editors now, P.T. Barnum is busy at work in New York, and he prints off 10,000 flyers with these voluptuous, nude mermaids, okay? And he literally litters 10,000 mermaid pamphlets all over New York City. So there's 10,000 of these pamphlets all over New York City. And what he says inside of the article is, guys, guess what? I am gonna get the Fiji mermaid to come to my museum. But it's only gonna be, this is what the ad literally said, but it's only gonna be here for 1 week starting on this day. Oh my Lanta, that sounds like scarcity urgency straight from the 1800s, because it is. And what he did is he said, on this day, the Fiji mermaid is going to be inside of my museum. Come here and make sure that you're here, okay? Now, there's a lot more to the story, so I'm telling you the Reader's Digest version, okay? So what happens is, in order to create even more buzz, now that the press in Philadelphia and the press in New York is buzzing with all this, oh my gosh, the Fiji mermaid, and P.T. Barnum's gonna have it for a week. P.T. Barnum, he puts like the nail in the head, okay? This is the cherry on the top, and this is what he does. Again, I'm not here to argue whether or not this is right or wrong. I don't think it's right, okay? But that's besides the point. Just learn from what he's doing here. What he does is he goes to all of the, okay, there's 10,000 flyers in New York City, okay? Philadelphia's buzzing, okay? And now everyone knows that there's gonna be this Fiji mermaid in P.T. Barnum's museum, but only for 1 week, and you gotta make sure that you're there. And you can see it, I think for 10 cents was the price or something like that, okay? So what they do is P.T. Barnum goes to the press, and he says, hey, local news press, I want to give you exclusive rights to cover the story when my mermaid shows up, when the Fiji mermaid shows up. They go, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Now, he went to the next newspaper and said the same thing. And then he went to the next newspaper and said the same thing. And he went to the next, he went to all of them, okay? And he went to all the newspapers and he said, you have exclusive rights. You have exclusive rights. You have exclusive rights. And everyone's like, oh my gosh. So what happened is the day comes for the Fiji mermaid, and there's so much pressure built up. Philadelphia's heard of it, right? It's been seeded all over the place with this fake doctor who's been touting around with the Fiji mermaid, and he's about to bring it to New York, and they've created a whole story around it, and editors over there know about it, and they're talking about it. Over in New York, there's 10,000 leaflets all over the place with, I'll be honest, voluptuous, largely nude, okay, mermaids all over the place. Again, I'm not talking about the morals of this, I'm just saying this is what happened. And then he goes through and it was a fake mermaid, right? And all of these people, all these newspapers now hear that, oh my gosh, I get to go have this exclusive coverage for my newspaper, but they've all been told that the day of it comes. Newspapers learn that all the other newspapers have heard about it, and that all the other newspapers were given quote unquote exclusive coverage. So what do? Rather than miss out on the opportunity that every other newspaper is going to be covering a story on, they decide to all run the story because they don't want to be the newspaper that's left out. And that gets ridiculous sales for P.T. Barnum. This is one of the crowning things at the beginning of like massive, like, for P.T. Barnum, this was like a huge deal moving forward for parts of his career. Okay, and he started, his museum was largely known for like freak of nature kind of stuff and stuff like, anyway, so, now, when you compare the amount of footwork that went in to creating pressure around a single date, compared to what most people do when they build a funnel and they go turn Facebook ads on, that is not a campaign, right? And that's what I'm trying to say in this podcast episode. And I've had people say like, well, Steve, what do you mean Facebook ads are not campaigns? I'm not saying it can't be. I'm saying that just running an ad is not a campaign. So let's think real quick here about what P.T. Barnum did inside of his campaign to promote a completely fake and not valuable thing called the Fiji mermaid, right? And people found out, they went to his museum, they saw it, and there was even some chuckles about it. People studying it. And I believe there was even like a picture of people studying the Fiji mermaid, and it was not at all what the picture looked like with these voluptuous mermaids. It was this rotted to death, stuffed, frozen monkey sewed to the back end of a fish. That's what it was. And he had tons of sales, and it shot his career all over the place. Okay, so first of all, what was the hook that P.T. Barnum used to get this campaign going. All right. Probably the picture of the mermaid, okay? That's definitely one of them. The headline, okay, it was very, very clever. I wish I could remember off the top of my head. It is on the internet. You can go look it up. You can go see the Fiji mermaid, by the way. Go look it up on Wikipedia, and you'll see the actual picture of it. It's pretty freaking ugly. In fact, it's kind of horrific. When you look at it, you're like, oh my gosh, that is not at all what the pictures is sold. But he created the second part, which is a story. Okay, now most people do okay with the story. Creating hooks is kind of a work of art. Okay, so most people don't really create a hook. They'll create the story, they create the sales message, they kind of create a hook maybe. The next part of every campaign though is you need to attach it to distribution. So take those things and you go dump it in the distribution. So what is the distribution channel that P.T. Barnum used? Newspapers. Right? Newspapers. He even used his own by putting 10,000 leaflets around New York City, okay? But he used the distribution channels that were already there. You realize that P.T. Barnum did not create his own newspaper channel, his own newspaper press. He used the existing distribution that was there, right? That's 100% a direct response marketer play. Okay, so first there's a hook, then there's a story, then there's a campaign. There's a hook, there's a story, there's distribution, that's the third one, so hook, story, distribution. The next thing he did in there, let's think through a little bit about the actual mechanics of, because there's another piece I want to go hit real quick here with this that's very key, and you'll see Hollywood even does this today. Anyway, inside of the sales letter, he said, it's only coming in these days, so there's a call to action, okay? And when it's gone, right? With this 1 week, it's here, and then after that, I can't have it in my museum anymore, okay? Most of the time, people make the mistake in promoting their products today by making it always available. He opens the cart and closes the cart on a physical location, a retail location, literally, it's a museum, right? And that was it, okay? He opens the cart and closes the cart. That's huge. There's a call to action. These are all the same principles we use today. There's no difference in that just because the internet's here, okay? But when you add the internet, it's very powerful. When you remove the internet, take the internet out of the equation, learn what marketing really is, learn how to build campaigns, and then add the internet, and that's all very powerful. Before that, the internet can kind of be a distraction, okay? Anyway, this is like, I know this is a very juicy episode here, but I'm trying to tell a story here to like cause some ahas on what an actual campaign is, because people still are reaching out like, well, of course, Facebook. Anyway, I've already said that. Okay, there's one other element to this. You understand that what P.T. Barnum did not do, he did not start by just going to the newspaper and saying, you have exclusive coverage, you have exclusive coverage, you have exclusive coverage, you have exclusive coverage. That wasn't the first move. That was his final move. Okay? What he did instead is he created a series of, and I call it a campaign. It's just it's literally orchestrated noise. It's orchestrated noise. Okay, so there's this little pressure event over here to cause a little bit of pressure, and then he uses that to cause a little bit more of a pressure event over here, and then he uses that to cause even more a pressure event over here, right? And you think about the way Hollywood launches a movie, very similar, right? A year out, they'll launch a preview that's like a minute. Doesn't say much, they're probably still editing, right? But it's just bringing a little bit of like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. And who does that attract? The fans, right? The fans. Like when Disney bought Star Wars and started dropping hints that they were gonna drop a new Star Wars movie, all they had to do was a year beforehand play like the 15-second little song, right? With Star Wars, dun, 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 yeah, right, and Star Wars comes in and just goes whoosh, and then it says coming summer this year, and that was it. And what do all the hypers do? Oh my gosh, right? They go spread it around all over the place, and their sneezers spread the message for them. That's the beginning of a campaign. It's not the full campaign, but it's a single pressure event. Then like 6 months ahead of time, they release another one that's like a minute 30. Right? Then like 3 months ahead of time, then they release another one that's like 3 minutes. Then they release a few different versions. And then they'll tell a little bit of brief story around different characters inside the story. And you understand it's the series of escalating pressure, right? That's a campaign. That's a campaign. They're not single events. They're escalating pressure events, right? That they all piggyback off of each other. And you see that on this P.T. Barnum example. He goes and they're sending anonymous letters from various locations, right, in New York, causes the buzz. Then they go send this fake doctor over to Philadelphia, builds more pressure. Oh my gosh, Philadelphia's starting to hear about it. Then he's sending 10,000 pamphlets, right? Then he's going to all the newspapers. It's like pressure, pressure, pressure. Oh, there's a specific date. That's very key. There's a specific date that all this is coming out. Oh my gosh, here it comes. Build, pressure, pressure, pressure. Oh, here it comes, right? You understand? So like, one of the things I've been obsessed with lately is I have been watching what other marketers, successful marketers, are doing to both launch their products and keep the products out once they're selling. That's two separate styles of campaigns. There's launch campaigns and there's evergreen campaigns. And I know I've beat that to death on this podcast, but it's because that is how a marketer gets paid. And when you add the internet in today, very powerful. Okay, so hopefully you guys like this episode today. I'm gonna stop it right here. I got several more miles to bike to go home. But that's just been on my mind. I just wanna tell you guys that story. It's a sweet story. And I want you to analyze how a lot of these guys back in the past, or let me do it and I'll just tell you the takeaways. Okay, I want you to take note of that though, and realize that that's why this stuff works. It's not, like I use Facebook campaigns in conjunction with my podcasts. Like on the stuff that I go and I sell, a lot of times what we're doing now is we'll drive ads to a specific podcast episode, not a registration page. They'll go to the podcast episode and then we'll retarget them for a small download. And then once they get that, we'll retarget them for the actual thing. Warmed, more pressure, boom, right? Cart closing, only open during this time, bam, close out, right? And you still can do those same principles today, but it's only when you understand those things that I feel like today's modern tools are really powerful. Without that backdrop, it's very easy to take advantage of the tools we've been given and use them in weird ways, and take advantage of the easy distribution channels that we have today and not actually use real marketing inside of it. It's just barfing. It's not marketing. It's just, it's just put all over the place. I call it link barfing. Barf, 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 link barf, link barf, link. You see what I'm saying? That's not marketing. That's link barfing, right? Anyway, hey guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. I really would appreciate it if you guys drop a review. Just so you know, I'm going to hit, oh my gosh, I'm going to start the beginning of the campaign right here. Sales Funnel Radio will most likely be over at episode 300. And I will tell you why in a future episode. It's not because the show doesn't do well. We get 2,500 to 3,000 downloads a day. That's not the reason why. I'll teach you guys the actual strategy of what I'm doing and a pattern that I noticed in content creation, and the position that I'm in now that, you know, I've really fought and worked hard for. But there is a principle. Crap, street light went out. Well, there's a principle that I'm following here, and I want you guys to take note of that. So anyway, that is my cue. Get from my bike light. Yeah, oh, that looks kind of sick. That's my cue. So anyways, just a little heads up. In several, probably like a month or two here, Sales Funnel Radio will be over. And I'd love for you to review this. And the whole point of this show has been to document my journey from literally broke to, I'm hoping we hit a gross of 5 million by the end of this year. I still have another 1.5 million to go, but I think I can hit it. I'm trying to hit it by the end of the show though. So anyway, it's a pretty sick show. All right, guys, get rich.
Oh yeah, wasn't that awesome? Hey, just real quick, a few months ago, Russell asked me to write a chapter for a secret project he was doing. And I had to write a chapter for a book, and this was the prompt. This was the letter I got from him. He said, "Hey Steven, let me ask you a quick question. You suddenly lose all your money, along with your name and your reputation, and only have your marketing know-how left. You have bills piled high and people harassing you for money over the phone. Plus, you have a guaranteed roof over your head, a phone line, an internet connection, and a ClickFunnels account for only 1 month. You no longer have your big guru name, your following, your JV partners. Other than your vast marketing experience, you're an unknown newbie. What would you do from day 1 to day 30 to save yourself?" Russell Brunson. Hey, if you want to see my answer and a bunch of other marketers that also had answered that in this amazing book and summit, Just go to 30days.com/Steven. Again, you can see the entire summit, you can see the book, you can see what we wrote in there, and each of our detailed plans. Just go to 30days.com/Steven. That's 30 as in 30, 30days.com/Steven, STEPHEN. Guys, enjoy.